I forget that I don't have a hand over there all the time.
Yeah.
The stronger it gets and everything else. So but that process is going to be interesting. There's so many things you don't want to do with it.
Hmm.
Don't want. I wouldn't if I were in Colorado. I wouldn't get one.
No.
Well, they have a lot of lightning strikes there.
I didn't think about that. That's probably a
Well,
good point.
you don't. You have to be careful about being around water. I told my wife
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't rinse the dishes anymore.
Yeah, bummer.
No. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, Pastor Stewart here at First Baptist Church of Auburn, and we just wanted to interview Ken Walker. Ken had a unique experience, and so we just kind of wanted to put down on film what had happened to him. So I'll let him introduce himself to you, and then we'll get into what happened.
Hi, I'm Ken Walker, and I've always been an avid bicycle rider. Like riding up here in the foothills of the Sierras. And anyway, I'm 81, and that's just something I've always enjoyed doing, and being out there with the Lord.
So Ken had what he called his miracle bike ride. So Ken, in your own words, tell us what happened and what God did through that.
Well, I had decided to go out on just a 15-mile ride, and one I would do normally fast, and then at the last moment decided I was going to take it easier, and I was going to go 30 miles. And as I rounded a 90-degree turn, I hit some gravel that I hadn't seen because I was not going as fast.
Sure.
Which meant I was still going probably 17, 18 miles an hour.
Sure.
But anyway, I realized I had hit it, and I was going to go down, and I was going to get some road rash that I hadn't had in decades.
Yeah.
And when you do that, I clicked out my left foot, tried to click out my right, but it was down enough it wouldn't come off. I went ahead and closed my eyes and hung on and said, okay, just grin and bear it. And next thing I know, I'm stunned. I'm sitting, and I really wasn't too sure of that. I mean, I wasn't comprehending that.
Right.
I had the corner that I went. I happened to be the people who own the property put a lot of debris there because they have people at nighttime and early morning run their cars into it.
Okay.
So anyway, my bike obviously hit the debris, threw me up into a 6-strand barbed wire fence. I went through probably the top two.
Oh.
And not only did I go through it, but I went head on into a oak tree 7.5 feet away.
Ooh.
And any of those things could have and should have killed me, but I had a good anyway, I had an Apple Watch family had given me, and the Apple, I didn't know how to work it. Anyway, finally a voice came on and says, can I help you? And I said, yeah, call my one daughter who's a nurse. And she answered right away, which is not normal, not even conceivable.
Sure.
And at that point, I heard a man's voice saying, here, hold your arm up. And I later called him my Good Samaritan. He actually left. He was urged to leave work early, and we're not talking 10 to 15 minutes. He left somewhere around an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Earlier.
Wow.
And when the direction he came, he could see the bike up against the fence, could see me sitting at the base of an oak tree, just bleeding all over the place. People from the other side couldn't see. They could see the bike, but they couldn't see me. And once he stopped, people stopped. But when rescue came, I heard somebody in the background say he's a donor. And when I heard that, I closed my eyes immediately because I knew that was not good. And I said, okay, Lord, you know I'm yours. And yeah, I had a experience at that point. All I know is at peace, and I was at peace and comfort. I don't even dare try to describe it because it could change easily.
Sure.
And But I do know I had filleted my arm, and anyway, when I was there, I kind of, in my up-to-date kind of question, okay, how much did the Christ go through for us on the cross? At that point, all of a sudden, I go from that nice peace and comfort to a picture of my fillet, and immediately I'm talking to Christ and I'm saying, thank you. I just can't even fathom what you went through. And then I snapped out of it and was talking to some of the people, and they couldn't believe it. I was still talking to them. They couldn't put an IV in me because I lost a lot of units of blood, to the degree that they didn't think I'd make it to the hospital. I was life flighted. After a 7.5, almost 8-hour operation, that was just to stop all the massive bleeding. And they told the family, put me in ICU, we'll see if he survives. And they put me there because my body was shutting down. At the same time, they had already put in 7 units and they were putting in 2 more. Yeah. And believe it or not, the next day, about a day and a half later, I was awake. I can't say it was a pretty picture, but
yeah, I bet.
But anyway, I had the opportunity in the hospital to share with all the nurses, all the professionals. I was trying to thank them for what they did, and they kept saying I was an inspiration. And I'm going, how can I be an inspiration? I'm laying here on my back, and but finally, after 7 operations in the hospital, I was determined. I walked out 51 days later, and but I couldn't take I had cracked my neck in 3 places. If I had broken any of those, I would have been paralyzed or dead. Yeah. So I'm very thankful. It's very clear to me, what I went through, that Christ was there right beside me all the way. And when they discharged me, I went through another operation, but that was minor. It was just, it became so common. It was like, okay. Yeah. But I was having trouble trying to understand why the physicians and everybody was saying, you're an inspiration. Yeah. I said, how can I be an inspiration? And one morning, about 3:30, I know it was the Holy Spirit because it's not me, woke up and said, here's the title of your story, My Miracle Bicycle Ride. I thought, well, that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And I said, now what do I do with it? Well, within the next about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, there were 3 paragraphs they gave me to write. They just kind of covered what I tried to tell you. Sure. And then I thought, well, that's just about me. It's not supposed to be about me. Yeah. And so the next thing I realized is that question where everybody was saying I'm an inspiration, and I could not comprehend that. Sure. And then the Lord finally made me realize they knew all the things, all the miracles that were going on. Yeah. You know, I shouldn't have survived in the field. Sure. I shouldn't have survived when I got to the hospital. I shouldn't have survived having cracked neck. Yeah. And when I started realizing a little bit of what they knew, I can see why they said you're an inspiration. Sure. I have a hard time swallowing it. Anyway, I went through and I've written things about it. The Lord wants me to share. And it's just been a unbelievable opportunity. I tell people, start out as My Miracle Bicycle Ride, but it's My Miracle Bicycle Ride with the Lord. Sure. And because He was there every step of the way. We take things for granted. Mm-hmm. I've had people tell me, oh, it's coincident. No, it's not coincidence. Sure. And it's so easy for us as, I think, human nature to not want to accept something that we can't see, but I know this is something people tell kids all the time, and it's something adults need to remember. You can't see the wind, but you can sure feel it.
Sure.
So anyway.
Yeah, well, I remember we prayed for you for a long time. It was very touch and go for a little while there. Obviously, God had taught you a lot through this process. What's maybe one or two things that you want to share with people about what He's taught you through this whole thing?
Well, one of the things that He's taught me is I look forward every day to seeing who He puts in front of me to go talk to.
Sure. And
it's interesting because it's not like I step in front of them and say, I want to talk to you.
Right.
People are there and they'll ask questions. Obviously, because now I lost part of an arm. But then they ask, and then I start to share with them what the story is. And then they want to know the whole story. And then I say, well, you got to understand this is the Lord's story. And I said, now's the time to make a decision.
Yeah.
I said that in the hospital. And I've always heard that when I was growing up, make a decision. But I always thought I had time.
Sure.
Because make a decision today. Well, I think I'll make it next week.
Yeah.
The thing that I learned through this whole experience, you make a decision every day. You either accept Christ, what Christ did for us.
Yeah.
If you don't, you've accepted the devil who runs the world. And I think it's key to loving one another.
Yeah.
Not condemning each other.
Yeah.
Christ lays out, those who are, how we as human beings will be condemned if we don't do certain things, or if we do certain things.
Right.
But that's not our job. Our job is to do what He did and love others.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Is there any one last thing you'd like to share with us as we finish this up?
I thank you for all the prayers.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing ride. Oh, I thought of one thing. Stuart doesn't know. He doesn't know this.
Uh-oh, now I'm afraid.
Yeah. I had one of my son-in-laws, I was in the hospital, gave me the name Moses. And I said, why? And we kidded about it. But later, when the Lord was putting people in front of me to share, I said, why me? There's a lot of people out there who are younger.
Yeah.
And the week later, Stuart's talking about Moses. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, quit being another Moses, just accept the fact that the Lord wants to use you. And I think that's probably another key thing. We need to be willing to accept what the Lord has put there for us.
Sure. Yeah, Moses was 80 when he started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you're just getting started.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Ken. And we hope that you guys have enjoyed this. We hope that it encourages you. And we're hoping that if you have any more questions, you can talk with Ken about what God has done in his life. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.